What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, 'tis the season. We're back to having some fun interviews, so we're going to forget about you for a second. Guys, we are joined by Angels' ninth round pick from 2022, Tri-City Dust Devil, Joe Stewart. Joe, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for jumping on. We're doing good. How it's just in general, first off, how was the season, man? How did it all go? How was instructs, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, season was good. Got to got sent out a little bit. Probably a week after the draft. The draft finished. Sent all of us out to Arizona for a little like mini camp type thing. Did that for a few days, and then they got, especially the position players, they got a couple of us out pretty quick. So yeah, I got sent out to Tri Cities, played the rest of the season there, and it was just really fun. Just get to get acclimated to pro ball. Obviously it's the same game, but it's a much different game. So to get out there and play, obviously it's a shortened season, and it's we haven't really gone into our first full year, but the fact that the Angels were able to get a lot of us out there and get a taste of it going into our first off season is super valuable, just to kind of know like what it's like, what you need to work on. So yeah, that was great. Season ended. Got to go home for a couple weeks, about a week and a half. Got a nice little break, and then sent back to Arizona and started instructs on, I believe, September like 24th or 25th. So, then just did that for a month and got done yesterday. So it was it was good. We got to do a lot of cool stuff. Got to get out to Anaheim, see the stadium. It's interesting because you get drafted, you get sent out, so you really only know the guys in your draft class and the guys that I was with in Tri City. So it's fun to get to meet a lot of the different kids in the organization. Get to see them play, get to do some work with them, and it was just a fun experience to be around the guys.
Anyone in particular? Did you face Ben Joyce? I mean, just right off the bat.
Yeah. Ben didn't throw.
That's good.
He actually, he was at Instructs, but he pretty much just shut it down and was there just lifting and doing stuff like that with us. So yeah, no, we didn't get any live from Ben. It's it definitely would be a fun at bat to see what it's like. But yeah, no, he was shut down. So
That's good. That's good to hear. I don't think anybody wants to really face him in the org. So
no, especially as a right-hander, it's not the most fun at bat.
Oh no.
I could assume.
no glove side pool. I can only imagine. I wouldn't want to. No,
Yeah.
we're pitchers,
Yep.
so I mean we have no. I don't want to face that. Nothing above 90
Yeah.
from. So appreciate it, Nate. I'm not forgetting about you. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm excited for this interview. I mean, he's even bigger person, like bigger than you could imagine. So this is gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, I know we're excited to talk a little, Michigan State action, all that fun stuff. So, Joe, right off the bat, I'm gonna start off with a little rapid fire questions. I hadn't nothing too crazy, but just to kind of get you acclimated with all this fun stuff. So, best slash favorite baseball movie of all time.
Ooh. I'm a big fan of some of the older movies. I'd probably have to go with Major League. I really like Major League. It's a good little mix of comedy and baseball, so I like that one a lot.
Sweet, perfect. Thank you. I mean, you're right in line with us there. Any pregame superstitions, anything like that? You got to get out at a certain time.
Yeah, no, I'm not really a super big superstition guy. Just for me, it's more just getting out there. The routine changed for sure once you get to pro ball. Just it was a different routine, but yeah, I just like to make sure I get to get a good stretch on my own, and kind of loosen up my body, before I actually get out into the field. So it's just doing stuff and like to roll out, stretch out the hamstring, stuff like that. So no big like really big superstitions, which is probably not a very fun answer, but that's just it's just kind of how I am.
No. Some guys are like that, so it's not. It is what it is. So, Rawlings, Wilson, or you use something else?
I kind of all of them right now. In college, I've used all of them. I used Marucci, Rollins, Wilson. Last year had Wilson. Got a. I actually have a Wilson and a Rollins right now that I'm breaking in. So I'm right now to be determined. We'll see which one I like more. So
Love it, absolutely love it. What kind of bat you use?
kind of the same thing.
Same.
I currently, yeah, I've at Instructs I swung a Chandler that I really liked. But I have some Victus bats I've been swinging. It's interesting. There's a lot of things you don't think of when you get sent out to pro ball, and like the different kind of woods and stuff. I feel like I would get summer ball in college and I would kind of just use whatever they had. But, it really is it's a different, each bat is a different feel. The woods are different feels. So there's definitely bats that are more suited for certain guys. So that's kind of been fun too. I think I've swung Old Hickory, Victus, Chandler, and Louisville Slugger all in my short little stint in pro ball. And so it's been good. I think right now I like the Chandlers and Victus the most. Old Hickory is great too. Yeah, I mean, again, we'll see. I gotta swing them a little more. So
Awesome, love it. Last but not least, favorite flavor seed.
ooh, I think I'd go with the dill pickle. I like the dill pickle ones a lot.
Perfect. No, I love it. I think I was what I have salted caramel was my favorite. Nate was a barbecue guy, so a little different.
Interesting.
A little different here from us. So perfect. Appreciate it. A little rapid fire there for you guys. First question for me, we have a big game this weekend. I don't think we're gonna put this podcast out before it comes out, but of course, Michigan State. You actually played at both. You grew up a Michigan State fan from what I read. Is it
Yep.
is it tough to, root for somebody at the moment? I mean, you got drafted as a Wolverine. Is it tough or is it still
Yeah.
Michigan State?
It is. It's really tough because everyone wants to know this too. Everyone wants to know what school I root for.
There aren't too many guys
Obviously,
either that have done this, so I would assume.
yeah, and I think baseball wise, at least, I think from guys have looked back and tried to do a little research, but I think I might have been the only one. There is actually another guy that from Michigan State that just transferred over to Michigan in the for this season too. So who knows? Maybe I started a trend. I don't know, but I don't want to start any beef there. But yeah, for me, I graduated from Michigan State. Obviously, got drafted out of Michigan, so I just have ties to both schools. Grew up a State fan, so I'll always be a Spartan. And definitely didn't expect to go to Michigan. That wasn't really the original plan, but just being there for a short year, it felt like home so quick. They accepted me so quick on the team, and it really is. You grow up a Michigan State fan and you hate Michigan, but you hate Michigan because of how great of a place it is. And it's not a jealousy thing, but it's like, of course, when something's at the top and on that pedestal, you obviously want to be there as well. And I'm very lucky that I've gotten to go to both schools, and they're both such good academic, athletic. They're just great campuses. It's really lucky that being in a state like Michigan, you have two major universities like that. So I honestly do root for both, and I hope both teams have success. It's the last year. I know I kind of understand that getting drafted out of a school winning a Big Ten championship there and stuff. There's definitely a lot of ties with me that at Michigan, and when they say on my roster where I'm from, it says University of Michigan, and so that's always probably going to be where I say I'm from as far as if people ask real quick, where'd you go to school? But I root for both. When they play, I just kind of keep my mouth shut, really. I have some of my best friends are from Michigan State, and I've met a lot of great people at Michigan too. So, it is one of those things where I kind of give the answer that a lot of people don't like. I know they want me to pick, and at the end of the day, until you've done it and actually gone to both schools, you're not going to really know what it's like. So, I just I try and not talk about it as much as possible, and just no, I root for both, and people don't really like that. So
sorry,
but it's fun. It's fun when they play, and it's going to be a fun weekend. It's Michigan's looking really good this year. State struggled a little bit. I think that head coach is new, and he's done a really nice job. So hopefully they gets things back on track. But it's nice to be able to root for a team like right now, like Michigan, that's really rolling. So
yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I did my research. I had to ask a tough question. Before I get to Nate,
no, it's all good.
Did you like playing at one of the fields rather than another one, or hitting at one of the fields rather than one of the other ones?
Yeah,
You get harder on him.
I know, yeah, right? I'm sorry.
It's not. I like both. for a left-handed hitter or right-handed hitter, left field at Michigan is much shorter, taller wall, so you got to hit it high. But for whatever reason, so like that, you would think that'd be the easy answer. For whatever reason, the way the field's built, the wind is always blowing in there, so it does play a little bit bigger than the park actually is. I didn't feel like either of them really. I would probably say Michigan because of the turf. The turf was nice. Um, you definitely there's more hits on the turf. I felt like some balls on the ground that don't get through on get grass, maybe kind of skip off that turf. So I think turf in general is probably more of a hitter's park. So probably Michigan.
Definitely. Yep. Nate, what do you got?
Yeah, so we mentioned this transfer a lot. We just kind of want to go through the transfer process. I know you went transfer portal and all that. So what was that like? What made the decision Michigan and just kind of talk us through the process of what it was like to transfer after your senior year. I know COVID probably gave you an extra year, so let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
boy. I mean, I guess how much time do we have? This is it is kind of a wild story. I the way my career went at Michigan State, and I think part of the reason why it was so easy for me to just feel so like get so into like Michigan and being a Wolverine is just my experience at Michigan was so positive the whole time. Coach Bakich was unbelievable. Couldn't have asked for a better coach, and so it made me grow really fond of Michigan really quick. And Michigan State definitely that was home growing up. That's where we went to. I went to football games growing up, had season tickets. That was the dream school to get to play there. And I think everything about Michigan State outside of the baseball, not saying the baseball experience was bad, it wasn't at all, but friends, all the people I met, the experience of going to football games was so awesome, and I loved getting the degree from there was great and all that, but my baseball time there was definitely difficult at times. I didn't play much, especially early on, so it was more of a mental grind at Michigan State, the baseball side of things for sure, because you come in as a freshman, you're all excited, like this is the dream. And not to say I'd made it, but that's where I wanted to go, and I got the opportunity to go there. So I walked on. I kind of was a late bloomer and a little bit of a late bloomer in high school. Walked on there, got the opportunity as like a preferred walk on, and turned down some other options with where I was going to get some money, but I felt like I was capable of playing in the Power Five, and I knew I wanted to do that. I wanted to play at the highest level, so that was, when I got the opportunity to do it, I committed there quick. But yeah, like I said, I didn't play much early on. Redshirted my first year, knew I needed to develop a little bit. Had some success a little bit in summer leagues and stuff like that, but played okay in the fall as well, and kind of was it stuck in that situation where I changed positions my freshman year. I went in as an outfielder. They kind of slid me over to first base for whatever reason. Just never really got super comfortable there. Played some first for 2 years, bounced back to the outfield. Just kind of it was one of those things. Never really found a position defensively that they felt comfortable with me being on the field every day. So what it came down to really is I was probably looking at like a DH maybe role, or pinch hit was kind of where I was, and those roles can be tough, especially when you're not getting a lot of consistent at bats. So the season would come, and I work hard, approach the season ready to go, and sometimes the opportunities weren't exactly there. So I think mentally for me that was really tough for a while. Felt like I was putting in a lot of work. Felt like I was capable, but understood there were some guys in front of me, and there was maybe some opportunities that I didn't I wasn't getting. So actually kind of decided to I think at every point there's a point in somebody's career you got to understand, like your baseball career is going to end. Most people it ends pretty early, much earlier than where I'm at currently, and that's totally okay, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that's kind of where I was. I knew I loved playing. I played every summer because I knew I needed to get at bats, and I finally got to a point where it was like, okay, like I got to start planning here, because my time here is going to be up, and if I'm not ready to move on after, like, I'm going to get stuck and I'm going to go home, not have a job for a year, and it kind of just, I knew I needed to start looking. So I started kind of working on like the professional side of things. I started doing all the interviews. I started going to career fairs. I started building my resume, doing internships. I think I did maybe 3 internships. I did one in the fall, so I was doing school, fall ball, also interning part time. That was a busy time, and then I got an internship that summer full time and started working. And then I came back to school my last year after COVID, and just kind of with a different mentality. It was just, I'm gonna have fun this year. Always felt like I was capable, but if you're not getting the opportunities, and if you're not seeing the result on the field, and at that time I wasn't, I was just going to enjoy it. I got, at the end of the day, I had a great experience getting to play at Michigan State. That's just, a lot of kids would dream to play there. And, I understood that that school had given me so much as far as an education, a great group of friends. And that's kind of what I saw it as at that point in my career. And I was going to go out that season and just have fun and literally just try to help the team win in any way they needed me to do it. And that's kind of how I always was. So whether it was, I think at one point in the fall, I told our pitching coach I'll pitch. I was like, if you need it, like if we don't have enough arms, I'll pitch. And he was like, no, I think we'll keep your bat available. So, but yeah, I accepted a job over winter break. So I just went into that second semester very stress free. I didn't, just had to finish up a couple more classes till graduation. Went that first weekend of my last year, kind of DH'd a little bit, a couple of the games, got a couple hits, was going okay. And then I got an opportunity to play center field the second weekend. A kid was the starting center fielder, was kind of banged up. He was dealing with a shoulder injury where he needed surgery, but he was kind of trying to play through it. So he ended up having to come out of a game. I was hitting pretty well, and I ended up bouncing out there, like the fourth or fifth game of the year. Had a good game. Played the next day, got another start, or got my first start in the field, in center. Had another good game, and then I think by the fifth or sixth game of the year, I was hitting third and playing center field, and like the rest was history. It kind of got red hot for a while, and then the confidence started to build, where it was like, okay, I thought I could do this. I didn't know for a while, but I was starting to see like, okay, I can, like, this is real. I can actually play at this level. And some people it happens late, and for me that's what happened. So I got the opportunity and ran with it. Went through a skid in the middle of the season, slowed down because I go from a guy that nobody knows who he is because I hadn't played much for 4 years. Now I'm the focal point of our offense, where I was hitting in the middle of the order, and having a lot of success. So started getting pitched differently, had to adjust, and then I happened to have some success against Michigan that year. So then I towards the end of the season, I started to get a little bit of interest professionally, and that's when it kind of hit me like, okay, like this is, I can do this, potentially, at the next level. And I still think I lacked a lot of confidence. I think I was just kind of having some success, but maybe at that time I didn't believe it. It's cool to get the interest. And so the season ends, and I, at this point, playing another year was so far off my radar. It wasn't even a thought in my head. I was like, I have to move on. Like, I can't stay in college forever. I had already accepted the job. That was going to be a good position. And I went, because I had gotten a little bit of interest. I didn't have an agent or anything. So I asked a buddy on my team, his dad had some experience scouting and stuff like that professionally. So I kind of went to him for some advice and said like, hey, what should I do? Like, I haven't really heard a ton about pro ball, but some guy just called me and asked like if I'm interested, and they're thinking about taking me like in the later rounds or maybe signing me undrafted. And I was like, I was just kind of a lot. I wasn't sure what to do. So for me, because I was kind of such an interesting situation at that time, where hadn't played a ton for a few years, and then kind of went out and was doing some things on the field as far as like I was playing center field. I was hitting for a little bit of power, and some of those things that, some scouts maybe like. And, but I don't think they knew how to assess me because it's like, why was he not playing a little bit earlier? Or, did he just get hot and that was it? The track, there was just not enough at bats there really. So I decided to play summer ball, and I'm a fifth year senior going to the Northwoods to play summer ball. Like it's not a very common thing that happens. But I didn't start work till August. So I was like, let's give it a shot. Like this is playing professionally has always been my dream. So might as well see if that was an option. And I go out and play, and the kids I was playing with, we happen to have a decent amount of like Power Five guys in that team, and they kind of got word that I had that extra year of eligibility. I'm not really sure how because I didn't really talk about it much, but then everyone started to try and like pitch me to come to their school. They're like, hey, like you'll come in, you'll start, like we need you, like kind of that thing. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, wait, if I'm not going to use baseball to play professionally, maybe I'll use it to at least like I never had a scholarship at Michigan State, so I was like, maybe I'll use it to get a master's degree and get it paid for. So maybe I'll look into it. So I talked to my parents. They're like, yeah, go for it. Let's see. I was probably 50-50 at this point whether I was going to play. I called my coach from Michigan State, kind of just explained, hey, I decided I think I want to get in the portal. I obviously don't have scholarship here. Like financially, I can't really afford to pay for grad school without a scholarship. So he was really nice about it and said, yeah, I can help you in any way. Gave me the guy I needed to reach out to get into the portal. So jumped in the portal, and with not a lot of expectations and with how crazy the transfer portal is, it went a little differently than I expected. My phone started kind of blowing up. As it happens in the portal, like when you first get in, everyone sees your name and also a bunch of schools start reaching out. So, I was getting more interest than I expected to get. And I happened to be at that time playing with a kid from Michigan, and he immediately calls Bakich, hey, Joe Stewart just got in the portal. I'm not sure what you're thinking as far as the outfield goes next year, but he's getting a lot of interest. If I were you, I would jump on it. So I get a text maybe 10 minutes later from Bakich. We start talking briefly over text. He says, hey, we need to, he was texting me like as if I had already committed. He's like,
that's
hey,
fantastic.
He's like, we need to hop on the phone right now. We need to get on the phone because if we're going to get you into grad school, we got to get this done. And I'm like, wait, what do we need to get done? Like, I haven't even committed yet, man. Yes. You haven't even offered me yet. So, we're on a bus ride to Kenosha, Wisconsin. It was like my last game or two in the Northwoods. I just did like a temp contract. So I think I got officially in the portal that morning. I get off the bus. I call Coach Bakich. We start talking, and, he's a really high energy guy. And he's like, you were a Spartan your whole life, but you're going to come to Michigan. You're going to be a Wolverine. Like, I need to hear you say go blue on the phone and like, all this. And he's fired up. He makes an offer. And, really what it was is I knew Michigan probably when I entered the portal. I was like, that was maybe going to be a spot I was interested in because it kind of had what I wanted. Good athletic program, really good academics. So I figured if baseball doesn't work out, I'm going to get that really good degree as well. So, he calls and says all that. And the thing really that did it was he said, and then none of this is a bash on Michigan State either. He was like, I've known who you were because I played with a lot of those kids for a while growing up. So I know a lot of kids at Michigan really well. And he was like, I've known who you are for a while. You're a Michigan kid. I kind of always felt, I was always curious why there wasn't more usage maybe early on in your career. And then when we saw you play this year against us, it kind of made me even more confused as far as why, you weren't getting more opportunities early. And he said, I don't think that you realize how good you can be. And I don't think that you're even anywhere near your potential on the baseball field. And we're going to help you get there. And once he said that, I was like, it kind of clicked in my head. I was like, okay, like, that's kind of always what I've thought of myself. I felt like I felt like, and even now still, I still feel like there's a lot more in there. And that's kind of how I felt a lot in my undergrad experience. Like I felt like there was this different level that I hadn't gone to yet that I could. And he basically said, this is what we're going to do with you. This is how we're going to do it. And I think that he said, you're going to play professional baseball, and, we're going to help you do that here. And that was kind of the first time someone said to me that they saw me as a pro prospect. And so I was like, okay, I'm in. Where do I sign, basically? So I committed to Michigan within like 5 hours of being in the portal. Any other schools, I was kind of just like, hey, yeah, I'm going to Michigan. Like it's a done deal. So that was kind of how it happened. And the great thing about Coach Bakich is, he's a very high energy guy. He's a good talker. He's a good recruiter. But the moment I stepped foot on campus, he never really wavered from that first conversation. He always stuck to exactly what he said to me, as far as, you're going to play professional baseball. Like, you're a dude, like all this kind of stuff. And it gave me that bit of confidence that I lacked. And when you start to hear someone say over and over something about you, whether it's true or not, you start to believe it yourself. And I think once I started to believe that I was good enough to play professionally, then it was like no doubt in my mind that I could do it. And I knew that, the cards were kind of stacked against me with my age. And I knew it was going to be really tough. And, a lot of people said that I couldn't get drafted, or, all these kind of things. I wasn't going to sign. It was too old. I wasn't going to get drafted. I was too old for a team to pick me. But Coach Bakich made me believe that was possible, and it ended up being possible. So, I definitely have a lot to credit to, this past year to him. Just the way he gave me an opportunity when I stepped foot on campus. Didn't give me a starting role. I still had to earn it, but he gave me that confidence that I needed to believe that I was good enough. And that really kind of took my game to a different level.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Nate, I know you had the question about. I know you have the biometrics
I did.
question.
We're
running out of time. I want to talk about draft day. Speaking of that, you played at Michigan State. You played with Mason Erla too.
Oh yeah,
right.
It was great. I got to rekindle with Mason at Instructs too. I haven't seen him in a few years, so it was awesome to see him and hang out with him a little bit there.
That just processed for me. Like, as we were talking, I was like, oh
yeah, me and Mason
Michigan State guy.
We were the same class at Michigan State, so I know Mason very well.
That's awesome. So, obviously, both of you guys drafted. You were drafted as a Michigan Wolverine.
Yep.
9th round. What was that day like, man?
Yeah, it was awesome. It's really weird. The MLB draft is, I feel like, so much different than other drafts. I knew the Angels were a team that were really interested. And for me, I just, at the end of the day, I knew there was teams interested, and, the age thing was obviously a factor. It just felt like from the start, the Angels were the team that was the most interested in me. And I wanted the team that wanted me the most. And, I had a plan for me to be the one that got me. So it was really cool that, when they called my agent, on draft day, and we kind of started, I kind of knew leading up that was a potential landing spot. And it was cool that they were able to kind of go and actually get me there in the 9th. That area scout, Ross Vecchio, we built a good relationship throughout the year. He came and watched a lot throughout the season, and got to have some really good conversations with him. So I felt like, for him, it was exciting for me to have him go out and get me, because, it kind of just solidified what we were, had talked about throughout the season and stuff. So that was awesome. Yeah, it's such a cool experience, just to, it's one of those. And like, I wasn't even a guy that was like a first rounder and stuff that was on the stage and stuff, but it still was just to hear your name called, and, get that call, and, when it starts to set in that you just got drafted to the MLB, it is a really, really awesome experience. Something I won't forget for sure. And I was just home with, family, and just got to kind of enjoy it with my mom and dad and grandma and brother and stuff, which was great. So
that's awesome. Putting like A and B together. Was it the Angels the year before too? Maybe Angels looking at
no,
Mason
it actually wasn't.
Okay.
No, it actually wasn't the Angels. Yeah, it was a Mariner scout.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
No, I would say you don't have to say. I was just putting A and B together. I was like, maybe they saw Mason and they saw something in you. But
yeah.
No, that's awesome to hear. Congratulations on that whole thing. we had a plethora of questions. I mean, but I don't want to take too much more of our time up here. So, Nate, appreciate
No,
you coming
yeah,
on.
we're
Joe, I
excited.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you so much for being
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Thanks
Yeah,
for
no
jumping on
problem.
with us.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good,
Maybe I
man.
talked a little too long there.
No, you're good. We enjoy
Yeah.
our listeners enjoy getting, the perspective of what happens in the minors with instructs and transfer portal, all that fun stuff. That does happen. And like I said, you're unique because you played at both schools, a little bit older. So, it's just cool to hear all the stories of kind of what went on in the background. And just, hey, thanks for jumping on. Congratulations on a fantastic season. We look forward to seeing what you do next year and where you end up, whether it's back in Tri-City or hopefully Rocket City and Salt Lake, and hopefully at the big league level someday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun. It was actually the first podcast I've been on. So this is
Awesome.
first for me as well.
Perfect. I appreciate it, man. Guys, thank you so much for listening and have a great rest of your day.